Good morning, children. So let's continue the lesson with some questions. So my first question is, which words shocked little Fran? So the words told by M. Hamel that was his last lesson in the school, that he would not teach French anymore. Now the new teacher was going to join and he would teach them German. Were shocking words to Fran. Question number 2. What are Sunday clothes? Sunday clothes are those newest, best clothes which we save for wearing on Sunday or on any special day. Question number 3. In view of M. Hamel, what kind of language is French? According to M. Hamel, French is the most beautiful language in the world. French is the clearest language and the most logical language. Why were some elderly people attending the class? Some elderly people were attending the class for two reasons. First, they were feeling sorry because they couldn't learn the language when they themselves were during their childhood. And secondly, they wanted to pay their tribute. They wanted to pay their respect, regard for the French teacher M. Hamel, who had been teaching in the school for 40 years. Let's see the text. Then he opened the grammar and read us our lesson. After that, he started teaching the students grammar. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. I think, too, that I had never listened so carefully and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. The same grammar, which some days before was so difficult to me, I was not able to understand. Today everything was very easy for me. Who says this? Francis. To France, everything that day seemed to be very easy. France said that never before he had listened to the lecture, listened to the class of his class teacher M. Hamel so attentively, so keenly as he was listening today. And in the same way, he says about his teacher also that he also never before had taught so patiently as he was teaching that day. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. It seemed the poor man. The poor man? Who is here poor man? Poor man, the helpless man, the miserable man, M. Hamel. It seemed that M. Hamel wanted to inject, wanted to impart all the knowledge which he had himself acquired to the students. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, M. Hamel had new copies for us, written in a beautiful round hand, France, Alsace, France. And that day, he distributed among the students some new copies. And in these new copies, in beautiful handwriting, the words like France, Alsace, France were written. Now children, here there is one phrase, a beautiful round hand, a beautiful round hand. This is a style of handwriting. In this handwriting, the letters are a round shape. They look like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom, hung from the rod at the top of our desk. The copies which were distributed among the students, the copies in which the words France, Alsace, France were written, these copies over the desk of the children were looking like floating flags, flying flags, as if some flags are flying over the desk of the children. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work. Everyone was working. Everyone had started working. Even the old persons were sitting, and all the children, whether they were small or bigger ones, all started working. All were writing. And how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. It was completely silent. No sound was coming from anywhere except the sound of the scratching of the pens over the paper. Once some beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them. Not even the littlest ones, who walked right on tracing their fish hooks as if that was friends. Once some beetles, some insects flew, but the students were so absorbed in their work, in their writing, that they didn't pay any notice to them. They didn't pay any attention to them. Not only the bigger children, even the kids, even the small children, they also didn't pay any notice to the beetles. Although the small children were not writing friends, they were only drawing the picture of fish hooks. But it seemed as if this was also French for them. On the roof, the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German? Even the pigeons? That very time, they heard the sound of pigeons on the roof, and the idea struck Franz. Franz thought that if the Prussians could make these pigeons also, these animals also, these birds also speak German. Means here the writer wants to say that there are something natural, instinct. So, our mother tongue is very natural for us to speak, whether we are taught in school or not. So here the writer wants to say that the Prussians could not snatch their mother tongue from them. Maybe French would not be taught in the school. So what? Mothers, parents would teach their babies to speak French in their houses. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. While writing and writing, sometimes I looked up, and then I saw that M. Hamel was looking at everything in the classroom so keenly, so intently, as if he wanted to fix, wanted to set everything in his mind permanently, as if he never wanted to be detached with any of the thing in the classroom. For 40 years, he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. And why not so? Because here he had been teaching not for 2 or 3 years. For 40 years continuously he had been teaching here. And the things were same. The same classroom, just outside the classroom, from his window he could see, he had his garden. So, except a few things, nothing had changed. Just like that, only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. The walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hop vine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. Everything was same. Nothing had changed except the few things. Like there were changes in the benches and desks. Why? Because they were overused. So they had become smooth. In the same way, there was change in walnut tree also. Walnut tree, which was at first very little sapling, now it had become a, a very tall tree. In the same way, hop vine, which he had himself planted, it had also grown more and more. First, it came to his window and then from window to roof. But except these things, almost all the things were same. In these 40 years, there was no change. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all, poor man. And the poor man, the poor teacher, M. Hamel, had to leave all these things, had to go away. So all these things were heartbreaking for him. To hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. In between, his sister, who was also living with her, was moving up and down in the room, packing their trunks. And these things had gave him a lot of pain because only the next day they had to leave the country. Children, country means here, country means district also, a region also, a rural area. So only the next day they had to leave the country. They had to leave this village. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last, although he was very sad. But he had nerves. He had courage to hear, to listen each and every lesson. After the writing, we had a lesson in history, and then the baby chanted their ba, be, bi, bo, bu. After that, he gave them lesson in the history, and it was followed by the baby chanting some words like ba, be, bi, bo, bu. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had put on his spectacles and holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. And on the back seat, on the last seat, old Hauser, who was sitting with a primer on his knees, he was also spelling the words with the babies. He was also trying to spell the words which he had never done with the babies. Because today he had also craze to learn his own language. You could see that he too was crying, and the old man at the same time was crying. His voice trembled with emotion. He had become emotional, sentimental. When he was speaking, his words were shaking, trembling. And it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. To hear the old man spell the letters with the babies was really funny, humorous. So at the same time, we wanted to cry and laugh. We wanted to cry because that was the last French lesson for we all children, and we wanted to laugh to see the old Hauser spell the words with the babies. Ah, how well I remember it, that last lesson. The narrator, Franz, when he was grown up, then later in future, he remembered all these things. All these things were memorable for him. These things were unforgettable for him. All at once the church clock struck 12. Then the Angelus. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill. Now it was 12 o'clock. This sound was given by the church clock. The church clock indicated, signaled, sounded that it was 12 o'clock. And at the same time, Angelus. Angelus. Angelus means a bell for prayer. Angelus in the church also rang, which also told that it was 12 o'clock. And the Prussian armies who were returning from their drill, they blew their trumpet under the window. So all the three sounds came at the same time. Which three sounds? The sound of the church clock, the sound of the angelus, and the sound of trumpet. Trumpet, a kind of musical instrument. M. Hamel stood up, very pale, in his chair. To hear this sound, M. Hamel thought that now it's the time to bid goodbye. Now it's the time to dismiss the school. So he stood up from the chair. And he was looking pale. He had turned pale. He was looking very sad. I never saw him look so tall, but still he was confident. The narrator says that never before he had seen him so confident. My friends, said he, but something choked him. He could not go on. He wanted to tell something. He told my friend, but after that, he couldn't complete his sentence. He became so emotional that his voice choked. He stopped speaking. His voice was choked. His voice stopped. He could not go on. Go on means continue. He couldn't continue his lecture. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, "Vive la France." When he couldn't speak anything, then taking a piece of chalk, he moved towards the blackboard and wrote as large as he could write, as bold as he could write, "Vive la France," means long live France. These words indicate that he had so deep love for France. These words show his patriotic feelings. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word, he made a gesture to us with his hand. "School is dismissed. You may go." And after writing, he leaned his head. He bent his head against the wall, and without speaking a single word. Why? Because his voice was choked. He couldn't speak. He had become emotional. So only he gave a gesture. Only he signaled, he gave a sign. "The school is dismissed. You may go." So children, now I want to tell in short the theme of this story. Before the theme, let me discuss some words. So first is at one stroke, means at one blow, at the same time. Sentences are, he opened the door at one stroke. He learned all the word meanings at one stroke. Then the second word is country, means a rural area, a district, a region. Then it is a beautiful round hand, means a style of handwriting in which the letters have round shape. He wrote the letter in beautiful round hand. He wrote the story in beautiful round hand. Set to work, to begin work. Gaze at, to look at keenly, to look at intently. Chant, recite with musical intonation. Now let's see some phrases. Gaze at means to look keenly. Look at means to see something. Stare at means also to look keenly. Glance at means look at. Glare at means also to look steadily, keenly. So almost all the phrases have same meaning and are followed by the same preposition at. Examples. He is staring at the stars. He is gazing at the wall. Now again there are some phrases. Pay attention to, pay heed to, pay notice to. All the phrases have same meaning, means notice. And all are followed by the same preposition, that is to. He didn't pay any notice to me. She didn't pay any attention to him. Now see this sentence. M. Hamel had said that he would question us on participles. Here children, had said is used to indicate earlier past. Now we'll have to know what is earlier past, and we'll also know that what is the use of past perfect. Children, when in past all the things, all the actions happen at the same time, at the same moment, then in all these sentences we use simple past. But something which happened before that particular moment in the past, there we use past perfect, and that is called past earlier. Here you can see in the sentence that M. Hamel had said that he would question us. M. Hamel had said. This is written in past perfect. The whole story is written in simple past. Why? Because all the incidents of the story are of the same day. But M. Hamel had said that he would question. This sentence was told one day before. He had given them assignment one day before. So this is past earlier, and that's why here past perfect has been used. And now the central idea of the story, the underlying theme of the story. The story highlights the tendency of human beings to put off the things till tomorrow, which causes unexpected problem, unexpected trouble, unexpected consequences. So, the writer here gives us a moral, a lesson that we shouldn't put off, we shouldn't postpone anything for tomorrow, which we can do. That's all. Thanks.